And just like that, there are 2 races remaining in all 3 series. Talladega, the Yellowwood 500, is in the books, and Chase Briscoe wins his way into Phoenix. And I will remind you all that he was my pre-playoff championship pick. So, hey, maybe I'll get one pick right on this. So, how we all doing, everybody? I see you guys have plenty to say in the chat. And we will go through everything having to do with this race, having to do with the championship stuff, all of that. First, I'm seeing everyone sort of getting ahead on it. What did you think of this race out of 10? We got a 19.23 here. We have a, where's that? Beard. Yes, I have a beard. 6, 19, 10, 9.4, 5, by the way. Like the dinosaur, like that. 6.5, 8.19, 6, 7, 8.5, 19, 7, 7, 8, 8.19, 7, 8. Yeah, so I think a lot of people are generally more positive about this one from what I can tell. 6.5, 6.5, 7.59, 9, 7, 19. I thought it was better than most. I thought it was better than Talladega races. I don't think it was to the level of Daytona yet, personally. But I did think that this was a good step in the right direction. When they were able to race at the end, they were able to move the lines forward, move the pack forward. And we haven't got that as much. Now, when it comes to the point standings, Briscoe locks himself in with Denny Hamlin. So 2 of the 3 remaining JGR cars are in for Phoenix. So it's Hamlin last week, who basically just has to, ride around this week and next, and Briscoe, who just needs to ride around next week. They're both in. The 19 will compete for another championship, barring any disqualifications in tech. Bell plus 37 on it right now, and Larson plus 36. Points wise, heading into Martinsville, it would take probably a catastrophic failure of Bell or Larson to miss on points, which means I'll just win, baby. Just win at this point for the guys below. One of those is William Byron, minus 36. He was running in the top 5 or so at the end of that race. 25th place finish today. It wouldn't have got him in no matter where he finished. That wasn't a win, but it would have made it a lot more realistic to point his way in at Martinsville. Behind him, minus 38, Joey Logano, the dream. It's still alive, but heading into Martinsville where his teammates better, and there's a lot of competitors. I would honestly say most of the people in the playoffs are better at Martinsville at this point than the 22 team. He is definitely a long shot. You have Ryan Blaney minus 47. I mean, there's almost no mathematical way he makes it in without a miracle happening at this point. He's going to have to win again at the paperclip to keep his season alive. And Chase Elliott, minus 62, mathematically eliminated from making it on points. It is must win for sure. It's must win for all of them. We'll put those down on the bottom. As for the race itself, let's go through the Yellowwood 500, see where they all, your favorite driver as well as others stacked up in this one. If I can get it pulled up. There we go. Winning the race, of course, Chase Briscoe. Second, Todd Gilliland. The non-playoff guys were the ones that really shined in a lot of this race today. I talked about it in the pre-race show that there were going to be a lot of them that would run well, do run well at these super speedways, and we saw that. So 19 right over the 34. This after 3 hours, 26 minutes, and 28 seconds of racing, 6 cautions for 28 laps, 77 lead changes, only 11 shy of the NASCAR record of 88 set in 2010 and 2011 at this same Talladega Superspeedway. Laps, I believe we were at 192 or 194, somewhere in there. We went to 1 overtime. Briscoe winning over Gilliland. Third, Ty Gibbs. the man who probably should get a piece of a championship check if the 19 wins. He was the one that pushed him up towards the front. Bubba Wallace, 4th place finish. Solid run for him. And Cole Custer, another top 5 at a super speedway in 5th. Then Carson Hocevar, 6th. 7th is Tyler Reddick. The next highest finishing playoff guy that's currently in is Christopher Bell in 8th position. Then Zane Smith and Brad Keselowski round out the top 10. From there, Shane Van Gisbergen barely misses another top 10. He finishes 11th. Suarez and Chastain follow 12th and 13th. The Trackhouse trio all there. Then Nemechek and Priest, the top 15. Joey Logano, 16th place, had to pit before the overtime because they did not put enough fuel into the car for him to go into those extra laps. They wanted to make it as quick as possible. I get that. But who knows where that 22 and the 12 could have been without that. Michael McDowell, the pole sitter, 17th. Casey Mears, top half of the field finish in 18th, 19th for Kyle Busch. And let's be honest, this was probably Kyle Busch's last shot at a victory in 2025. Ty Dillon finishes 20th, then Anthony Alfredo and Austin Hill. Ryan Blaney, 23rd. 24th, Denny Hamlin. 25th is where William Byron fell. Kyle Larson runs out of gas on the last lap, I believe on last lap, finishing 26th. He was well in position to run for his first win at a super speedway. Unfortunately for him, it just didn't work out. From there, 27, 2 laps down, Austin Dillon, and 6 laps down for BJ McLeod. 6 laps down as well after having some engine issues for Alex Bowman in 29th position. And then a lot out of the race, actually. Chris Buescher, 30th, Cody Ware, 31st, Riley Herbst, 32nd, Josh Berry, 33rd, Austin Cindric, I should say, the other Austin tonight, finishes 34th, 116 laps down, last one on the racetrack, the rest out. Eric Jones, 35th, Gregson, 36th, Allmendinger, 37th, Stenhouse, 38th, Haley, 39th, and Chase Elliott, a catastrophic last place finish at Talladega today. So that's your finishing order. We'll put that down on the bottom. I see a lot of those super chats. We will read them at the super chat cool down lap at the end of this. Let's talk about what we saw in this race. I will say racing wise, this is the first big thing I want to talk about. Racing wise, I did think the racing today was better. I don't necessarily think it was great. I would even have trouble venturing to say a lot of the day was even good. But what I liked is that when they were racing, they were able to make a 3rd line, 4th lines. Now they got jumbled up, and that's part of it in the pack. But at the same time, that you were able to see the lines form up and actually draft past and not be completely gridlocked. It's not perfect. I wish it would be actually a lot better than this personally, but it is a huge, huge, huge step in the right direction racing wise. And that should be talked about. I think a lot of the race wasn't really great, honestly, though. A lot of it was still stuck with the fuel saving. And there was gridlock when they weren't, having crazy bumps and pushes and all of that. So I think there's still a lot of work to be done. I think a lot of people are maybe lowering their bar a little bit. Like I said, I thought that at the best there was a lot of good moments, but at the worst, there was some dreadfully bland portions of the race, especially again the fuel saving and other things like that. To me, it didn't raise a candle to Daytona this past August, which I thought was a genuinely good race. This one I just thought was middle of the road. Maybe a 6 out of 10. I know a lot of people are saying 7 or 8. I 6 is about as far up as I could go, maybe even 5. Which, to be fair, when you look at how much I've looked down on other Talladega races, I do think this was the best of the next gen era. Again, that is a huge step, but I couldn't do, and I will say this. And it wasn't Penske leading either. That was the issue. It was the car. It's the car. It is not any specific driver. It's no specific OEM strategy, any of that. Mark my words. It is the car. And I hope, really, really hope that they are looking into testing at Daytona to try and improve the aero package and maybe see some stuff under the hood too different next year to try and make some difference in the racing. Because I think they're getting the right direction, but now it's like we need to start taking more swings at it. Yeah, I'm right with you. It will always be the car. It will always be the car. Looking at some of it, I mean, there was a little bit of everything, I will say, in this race today. If you liked the fuel saving, because there are a lot of people that like the fuel saving, then you did have that. It is a strategy, fair enough. I get people's idea of why they like it. It is not for me. We had spaced out times, like the start was super, super spaced out today with the pack. And we saw the pack sort of kind of widen out. It all came back together, but it widened out for a while. We even saw train racing at one point, which I was surprised with. But for the opening 40 or so laps, and then pretty much the same thing for the other two stages, it was running 50 to 70% throttle. The leader could run about 90% and still keep the lead. I hesitate to say a lot of the lead changes that we saw of like big runs were really big runs. I think a lot of the lead changes we saw in the first 70% of the race was kind of just playing musical chairs with the lead, because you did not want to be the lead car today. You wanted to be second, third on back in your line. That way you didn't have to use up the most fuel. And we saw that happen multiple times today. And we saw Joey Logano pay the biggest price for that when it came to how much fuel had to be put in his car, how many issues he had, with all of that. You did not want to be leading today. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Joey Logano led the most laps today, and he was the one that had fuel issues towards the end. There were some big incidents, though, and I want to talk about those too. Lap 52, we get a crash. The 43 just kind of turns the 4. Bad bump gone wrong. Collects about 8 cars total. AJ Allmendinger with just a nasty, nasty wreck. I thought we were going to have the worst 3 for 3 we've had in a while, of 3 races, 3 injured or at least hospitalized or further evaluated drivers in this race, because AJ gets out after a really, really hard hit, bad angle, gets out on the front stretch right before pit road. Car's on fire too, and so you have that's weighing him down and is a huge issue. And he gets out of the car and just lays down on the ground. Scary moments there. Luckily, AJ, from the reports and from his interview, is okay. But in that crash too, we get the championship implications in the words of Rick Allen. Chase Elliott collected in this crash. Like I said earlier, 40th last place finish today for Elliott. I am someone who, I love this. I went from people for the longest time saying that I was a Chase Elliott hater. I'm a Hendrick hater. I don't like those guys because they're popular. I'm jealous, all this crap too. Like, I found that I defend Chase now more nowadays. I don't think Chase is necessarily counted out. Now, maybe at Martinsville, 100 laps in, he'll prove me wrong. For his case, I hope not. But Chase Elliott last year was racing for the win with Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. It's exactly why Blaney's the favorite next week. It's exactly why Byron, who's won and dominated there before, I don't count out. Logano, if anyone can overcome not being the best going in there attempt, I don't count any of them out yet. The 22 is the closest I go to it, but I have bit wrongly on that hook before, and I will not do that again until tech is passed at Martinsville. But Chase Elliott, he is the only one who mathematically is in a must win. The only one that there is no miracle points Hail Mary that can get him all the way up into the Final Four. Because, you can get 35 points for finishing second, win both stages, 55 points right there. And then if, say, Larson finishes 30th or 31st, I should say, Joey Logano, or not Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney could point his way ahead of him. And then from there, he would, with that many points, he could easily leapfrog the 24 and the 22. Easy peasy, right? That could still, crazy things happen. I don't think that'll happen, but that could happen. Then it's kind of similar with the 22 and the 24. But Chase Elliott can't do any of that. It is go for broke, balls to the wall. We need to win. And I think that can happen. I don't think he's the favorite, though. I think he might be one of the favorites next year. But I'm going to click on, y'all don't see it, but I'm clicking on Racing Reference to go back to last year at this race, because I think it's better to compare the fall race to the next fall race rather than this year's spring race or last year's spring race or any of that. Chase Elliott led 129 laps, only bested by Brad Keselowski's 170. They have gotten more racy in the fall race rather than the spring race. When it comes to Martinsville, it seems like they figured things out, whether it be tires, setups, you name it. Chase Elliott was there. He finished 2.5 seconds back, but he was the one who was leading with 15 to go. The deciding pass for the win last year for Ryan Blaney was Chase Elliott. So until he proves that history wrong and the fact that he's been really fast here before, I don't understand this counting Chase out yet thing. I think he and that team are good enough that they can go up and contend for the win. I still think Blaney is the favorite. I personally think that Larson probably will be right up there. Bell has won this race. Everyone forgets Bell was the one who won the Hail Melon race. He could solidify himself with the win in at that point. So I'm not going to jump the gun just yet on anything unless like they get to Martinsville and it's like, oh yeah, Chase can't do anything but drive around the infield like he's playing NASCAR 25 or Ignition or something like that. But it is a long shot. It is the hailest of Hail Marys. It is, unlikely, but not impossible. Now, second stage was more low-key, honestly. You had your green flag stops. You had SVG spin into the grass. And it's again, that's why next 2 weeks I'm doing pre-race shows. I said in the pre-race show, at least one driver is going to get bit spinning into the tri-oval grass because it rained a ton last night. They're going to get stuck on top of the flat tires, more than likely, just like the 88 had going in there. Now, the 88 hit a weeper. I want to say that too, because I think Shane Van Gisbergen, I think he's getting it. I think he's getting it on different types of tracks, whether it be shorter ovals like New Hampshire, whether it be 1.5-mile racetracks like Kansas and Las Vegas, whether it be now super speedways. He's up there racing, right? This isn't like Danica Patrick where she just sat in the back scared out of her mind and then like crashed herself. Like this is a guy who is actually going up and competing and passing and making moves. And it makes me really excited to see what that 88 can do next year. I don't blame him for spinning on a weeper. I don't. I get that maybe some others went over it and that didn't happen to them. I don't blame him. And I'm really excited to see what that 88 team can do next year. I really hope that they don't take a step back into the next season. I want to see him win an oval race just so we can not have to hear it anymore, man. I can't wait to see what he can do. The final stage, you had some issues with like the 22, Joey Logano smelling some gear oil. There was an issue, same thing with the 21 that knocked Barry out of the race. Nothing really happened with that. But the final stage, it was the Penske show. It was Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney taking control of the race, doing the best possible job. I mean, with Ryan Blaney there, like, let's just say that, Joey doesn't win, but Ryan Blaney finishes second, 35 points for that finish. 21-point difference there. If they're able to run to the end, I mean, that is a huge difference for him. That puts him, I think, 20. That would put him 26 out. Again, long shot, but we've seen those kind of points gaps be made up before. The 22 and the 12, at some point, they're going to cash in at one of these races, whether it's a Daytona 500, whether they cash in, again at Atlanta next year, or Echo Park, or Talladega. I don't know what it is, but Penske duo, the last few times, especially Joey Logano, I think this is Joey Logano's best finish of the next gen era at Talladega, and he finished 16th. and that is not indicative of just how good he has been here. But you had a near wreck when around 10th place, Riley Herbst had an engine let go in the middle of the pack. They all had to scatter around him. There were probably a half dozen times in this race where they're running 3 or 4 wide in the pack and actually racing at the end of the stage. And then, here's BJ McLeod as a lap car that they have to go and navigate around. Here's Alex Bowman as a lap car they have to navigate around, or Austin Cindric, or you name it. There should have probably been a huge one. The fact that wreck I talked about on lap 52, that 8-car wreck, was the biggest one today, I think is a minor miracle, and also really, really shows just how good these NASCAR Cup Series drivers are. I am impressed every time I see how they get around them. Everything changes really though with 23 to go. Cody Ware blows an engine, spins in his own oil. I saw everyone kind of making fun of him. Most drivers, when they get in that situation, are probably spinning that car. I'm not going to hate on Cody Ware for that. He was running actually a really, really decent race. He was running for the lead again when they were actually racing for a while during some of the stages. So, I thought it was an actually genuinely decent showing by Rick Ware Racing, Cody Ware, and that 51 team. Same thing with Riley Herbst. I know he's been the butt of a lot of jokes this year. He raced really damn well today, and I think that deserves to be shouted out. I mean, hell, AJ Allmendinger, he was crashed out of the lead. There were a lot of people that don't get much credit in general, or maybe even don't deserve much credit in general, who I thought ran some pretty darn good races today. There were others that were completely irrelevant. Obviously, there's that back and forth, but that 23 to go deal there changes the race, and they're going to get back on with 17 to go. Hamlin was actually up front racing, and I could tell he was trying to do everything he could to keep Joey Logano from getting the lead and possibly winning. Strategy move, I guess. Denny, I think, was going for win 61 more than stop Joey, as much as he doesn't want Joey making it. I'll be honest. If you just say driver A, driver B, driver C, driver D, and you give me all the scenarios after what happened, after not cashing in here and how far back they are, if you just told me driver B, is 38 back, is probably the worst setup to succeed out of the remaining 6, I would say, yeah, they're not going to make it. But because it's Joey Logano, I'm not closing the door until the doors of tech close at Martinsville. With that, though, 17 to go after Hamlin has to drop out due to being around 20% of its throttle or so being stuck. That's when they got back going. I will say this. I am a little bit worried about that 11 team. I'm not worried about Denny Hamlin, the driver. I think he is the most complete driver he has ever been. That 11 team is having a lot of small to medium scares that are uncharacteristic of that team. You were looking at the throttle maybe sticking a little here. They had the issue at the start at Kansas. They had, issues in previous weeks. This is starting to become a pattern right at the end of the year. And with 2 weeks to go, they have 2 weeks till the green flag drops at Phoenix. I would not feel that easy about it. I would not be, sitting back, having a little cocktail, in the middle of the week and just chilling. I'd be freaking worried. I'm worried about the 11 team, that some mechanical gremlin is going to pop up at the worst possible time. And don't tell me it can't happen. Don't tell me something can't fail, because his teammate Christopher Bell had that happen when it came to his brakes blowing up, I think it was, at Phoenix a couple years ago when he was in the Final Four. So I am a little bit worried. Not a little bit. I'm a lot of bit worried. And that's also maybe because Denny Hamlin has been cursed at times. That's something that needs to get fixed and figured out, because I totally get, like, I get Steve Letarte. He's going to back the crew chief. I get that. It's like a head coach in football who's an announcer. They're going to back the coach over the quarterback for whatever anyone says. It's the same thing with a crew chief and a driver. I think that's a very one-to-one comparison. But I don't think in any way Denny Hamlin was overreacting. I actually think he underreacted. I think he controlled himself pretty damn well, because I think this 11 team is best set up of anyone to win that race. I know that Briscoe is better in general at times at Phoenix, but Denny Hamlin has that extra time, has that, and has shown when he has extra time and he puts that to studying and getting ready for a race, he tends to perform really freaking well. It would be a damn shame if the last chance for Denny Hamlin to win a championship is taken away by something completely out of his control. I would hate that, whether it's on pit road, under the hood, whatever. But I wanted to mention that because that is something I think that should be watched next week at Martinsville. And that's going to be in the back of my head all day at Phoenix. So they get back going with 17 to go. And this is when we get the musical chairs for the lead. He got 34 lead in the bottom. He gets over the 12 a little bit. Now Larson is fighting for it. Larson then clears with 12 to go until a third lane comes up with Zane frickin' Smith flying up towards the front. You got the 48 bunching up the field a bunch. They're at one point I saw 5 wide through the tri-oval at the end of this race. There's guys bouncing off of each other in the last couple laps. I think the last 17 or so laps and then to the overtime finish was actually pretty fun to watch. I can't say that the opening 160 laps or 170 laps or whatever it was were. I think that was more hit or miss, and there were a lot more misses early on in the race in that one. But I thought the end was really fun, because then they had the 19 charging to the lead, the 5 challenging him. I'm just looking at all these numbers because I wasn't even going to be able to write the names. It was the numbers, 19, 38, 34, 12, 20, 24. 19 again, 23. Bubba Wallace jumped up out of nowhere into the middle of this fight. And yet Carson Hocevar pushing towards the end of this thing. Then Chris Buescher flies up to the front of the pack. He comes up. He's taking the lead. And with 2 laps to go, while in the lead, he is sent to the inside wall off the bumper of the 24 of William Byron. When they showed the replay, the 77 had gotten into the 24, and there were like 3 or 4 cars that were behind the 77. There was like the car behind the 77 had someone behind him who had someone behind him. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming at the end of this race. You knew that somebody was going to get sent. Unfortunately for the RFK driver, the overtime finish was set up because he nailed driver's side, the inside wall, hard as hell. Luckily, it seems like he's okay. But that sets it up for overtime. The Hendrick duo leads the way on the restart. 24 scoots ahead of the 5. Then they're pretty even. And then, the 23 starts fighting up there with them. They get the white flag. Larson on the super stretch runs out of gas. Bubba goes up to the lead. Then Briscoe runs up to the lead, defends his way to the victory after a push from the 54. His teammate, Chase Briscoe, gets the win today at Talladega. And with that, he locks himself in that much further on into the year to Phoenix, where he's won before in a non-JGR car. This race as well, I'm looking through, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is his 6th career win. It is also his 3rd of the year, or is his 5th career win, I think. 5th career win. 3rd of the year after Pocono and Darlington. And you know what? I'm looking back, and he's won twice at Darlington before, man. Maybe he went twice at Phoenix. Just saying. I'd said if there wasn't a Penske car in the Final Four, then I would say if Briscoe made it, he would be the favorite. And I think him and the 11 are tied neck and neck. I think people have underestimated Chase Briscoe and this 19 team immensely this year. I think they've shown incredible speed in the second half of this season, and people just aren't noticing it. I mean, it's not been maybe the most consistent per se. There's been some hiccups along the way, but I'd say basically from the middle part of the year, they've been on it for the most part. If they haven't got the finish, basically since about Mexico, the speed's been there, right? Like his worst finishes are like a crash at Daytona, or not running well at Daytona, a crash at Atlanta. You look at what this team has done since Sonoma, right? And you have second, won the pole, led a ton of laps at Indy, finished 18th though, second, 5th, 13th at Richmond, and 23rd at Daytona. So that's a step down. Wins Darlington, leading 309 of 367. Second, 9th, 10th, 4th, 14th at the Roval, 4th, gets a win here today. I think the 19 team is as complete of a team as you can probably get in year one of a new partnership like that. And I think they have in every way earned their way up to compete for a championship at season's end. I saw people talking about look at how close the season long points would be, and of the top like 8, 7 of them are in, and I'm with you on that. I think of those 7, any of them being all that close together and clumped together, all of them could win and be, I think, viewed by fans as a very deserving champion this year. And I think that one of those 7 will be the one that ends up doing that. And I think Briscoe and Hamlin, man, I mean, there's a lot of these guys that could run up there with them, but with that extra prep work for a track that both are very good at, it's going to be tough as hell unless you're a Penske car to beat those two. But we'll see. I could be completely wrong. Let's go to the Super Chat cool down lap. And I'm going to go back and forth between the finishing order and the points for those who are coming in a bit later. A lot of them before we went live. I will try and get all of those. Jeffrey King, I think, left the first one saying Martinsville is left and Elliott needs a 2020 mojo. It's going to be a hope and a prayer, man, but there are worse places that he could have that hope or prayer. Lucas for the 5 says, if people enjoyed this race, I will not go at them. I completely get why they did. It's okay if others enjoy what we get here. Yeah, I'm with that. It was not my most enjoyable race, in my opinion. I feel like I'm spoiled because I went to a ton of those Daytona and Talladega races at the end of the Gen 6 era that were some of the greatest races ever to be at and watch. And I want to get back to that. As much as I might be a nostalgia merchant with the Gen 4 era, I honestly liked the super speedway package we had from 2019 to 2021 more than any other we've had. And I yearn to go back to that. That's why the next gen frustrates me so much. Jeffrey, another says, Ty Dillon is stupid. He deflects 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, it's been rough, buddy. It's been rough, Ty. Roman numeral 3 says Hocevar caused the last 2 wrecks. To his credit, or not credit, defense, I will say that one where it was just like a giant chain reaction up the line. If he lets off there, he gets wrecked, and I think takes probably 10 or 12 cars with him. So I won't get on that one. He did pull some pretty crazy moves, bonsai, some dumb moves today. I won't go at him though with that one because we've seen with this package how often this happens, and you can't control what the guy back in 15th is doing to push your line forward. And that's really what happens. Like 15th pushed 13th, which pushed 10th, which pushed 7th, which pushed 4th, which pushed him, which pushed the 24 and the 17, and however you want to divvy that out. I get though, not exactly the longest leash after how he's responded and reacted before. Let's see. Jeffrey King says, basically bottom 4 must win. Congrats, Briscoe. I will cheer for you if HMS misses out completely. They could because Larson and Bell are both, I would say, fairly, I think fairly even with what they can do at Martinsville. And they're within 1 point. So if there's a winner, a new winner, you got a dog fight between the 20 and the 5. And there could. I mean, I think the only one of those four I feel comfortable saying I think would win is Blaney. I think Elliott, I'm close to being there. I think that he should be counted in as a contender, but with the 12th there, it's gonna be difficult. Man, all of HMS could miss out. All of JGR could make it. That's crazy. Hunter Nixon says, gutted as a Larson fan, but my dark horse championship pick is going to Phoenix. Hey, you and me on the same page, man. Jonathan says the cover curse is real. Yeah, it's y'all remind me, who are the cover drivers? It's Byron. Was it Byron, Blaney, and Elliott? Is that I don't. It's a digital game. I don't have a cover. Who? Byron, Bell, and Blaney. All right. So 3 Bs. I mean, it's working for Bell, but maybe what happens is Logano wins next week and knocks Bell out with Larson outpointing him. Wow, the reaction would be so salty. Jeffrey King also says Elliott, no matter what, has had a solid 90% season. It's been a solid season. He definitely there just needs to be another level at this point. I don't know if the 9 has it yet. I think they can get it back. I just don't think they have it yet. Don't count him out though. Martinsville's a good track for him. Tyler with the 10 says, you've got to be kidding me. I don't curse, but I want to. I hate this. Got wrecked 2 weeks in a row while running for the win. Now we will most likely miss the championship race. Just broken. I get it, man. I get it. Especially after what a great season it has been for that 24 team. I get it. It's frustrating. It's just the way it's set up, though. You know, just like I tell people, don't blame Logano when he wins. You know, can't blame the driver when they lose, when they're getting wrecked on the last laps or last couple laps when they're running for wins. Byron, by all accounts, had the cars ready to go to make it all the way through. And I refute the statement that I know people will make that he did not perform when the lights were brightest and blah, 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 blah. Even if he wins next week, I refuse to say the first 2 weeks, William Byron was not one of the best guys out there every week and did everything he needed to. He, in a lot of ways, just got taken out by some pure freaking dumb luck at times. Sucks, but that's how it's set up. It'll be different next year. Even if it's not major difference, it'll be different in some way. SW says the ending is pretty cool. Yeah, I thought so. I thought the ending was better. Never was cool. Says, caution, Cody Ware brings out the late race yellow yet again. I'm starting to think NASCAR is paying him extra for these. I know it's a joke, but I still defend Cody Ware on this one. But maybe there's a lever to pull in there to break it. Twin Spinner says Chase finished first and Chase finished late. Yeah, wow. Damn. I didn't even think of that one. That's a good fact. This will be a fun one. And one of y'all can maybe let me know on this. When's the last time that the driver who won and finished last had the same first name? Because, like, I know for a while there were a lot of like Davids in the field, or there were a lot of like Dales out there. Do we ever, or maybe we had it with the Chases, and I just don't remember. I don't keep. I keep track of basic statistics in NASCAR, like top 10s, averages, laps led, stuff like that. And I'll look at stuff Auto Racing Analytics has. When was the last time that they bookended the field like 2 Chases or Davids or Dales or whatever? Kyle's. Yeah, maybe Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson, like Nick is saying. Maybe they did. It'd have to be a while, man. It'd have to be a while. Y'all probably put it in the chat at some point. Justin Drake says, let's go. I follow Briscoe to the 19 as a fan over from SHR, the 4 years he was in the 14, and he's finally gotten the equipment in the that he needed to show how good he is. Let's effing go. Briscoe in the Champ 4. Yeah, about the middle of the year when I saw that team seem to turn a corner, And everywhere they went, they were fast and leading laps. I bought in. I bought in. And he did pretty damn well at SHR with some pretty shit equipment. So you get some of the best in the best out there. I feel like a lot of people probably should be issuing apologies to James Small because the allegations of him being washed were grossly overstated. Let's see. Grizzly Kid says, "Get in there, Chase." I'm assuming Briscoe. Mr. Bad Guy says, "Finish was cool. Glad Bubba had a shot. Racing's still a little mediocre. 6 out of 10. You're right on. You and me are right at the same spot when it comes to the racing. It needs work. The finish does not make it better. Or I should say the finish does not fix it. It makes the overall race better, sure. But I want to see the opening 170 laps a lot better. And I don't know if y'all can hear, but maybe I'm on the TV out there. Yesterday, I was doing my Xfinity post race, which, by the way, 2 weeks ago, 2-2, all 3 years. But my wife had it on the TV, and my daughter was watching, and apparently she was squealing. So little Mini Berg was happy. So if they're watching, say hi in the chat to them. Which that reminds me, while I'm thinking about it, I should remind all of you guys that this week will be on Eric's channel for NWP on Wednesday. So a lot to look forward to with that one, a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll have another surprise guest. We had a surprise guest this week for y'all that just popped up in the random last minute for Connor Zillich popping on that y'all seem to like. Maybe we'll have another. Who knows? I don't know. You'll have to tune in and see. And then we'll be live next week for Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup at Martinsville. Same thing with Phoenix. And then we're off to the off season. So just want to remind you all while you're here that we still have a lot to look forward to in the last 2 weeks of the year. And then we wait for the lawsuit. So the season ain't over just yet. Snap back to reality says JGR round of 8 sweep. Bell needs to beat Blaney. It's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be a slugfest next week. And I would not be surprised if it's either the best this format has to offer or the worst. I really don't think we're going to have an in-between. You look at the caliber of drivers that are going to be racing to get their way in, and the caliber of Martinsville drivers that are going to be racing to get their way in, on top of anyone else that might pop up. That's a very reasonable possibility. A Brad Keselowski, maybe. He's led laps and finished up front at Martinsville races. So I think it's, like I said, I think next week will either be the apps, and this is for all 3 races too, will be either the absolute best this format can give us with an exciting finish, exciting top level drivers going for it. Or it could be like last year and be the absolute worst that we could see out of it. Either way, there's going to be a lot to talk about. That is for sure. For NASCAR's sake, they probably really, really want the first of the 2 that I mentioned. Zenith, member for a year. Thank you. Brandon says, it was so great to see vintage Kyle Busch lead around 20 laps till he got hung over. Yeah, and hung out too. He was competitive today. I don't think that he's going to be one of them that pops up at Martinsville or Phoenix. But who knows? Maybe with the new crew chief next year, things could be different. But I think the winless streak will extend into 2026. But he had me believing a little bit today. Max says, I'm so mad about that last lap. Would have been a plus 40 above second. Now he's third, only plus 15. A good race despite that, but just upset. Who are we talking about? Plus 15. I don't think that's it. I don't know who's plus 15, but I know that, pop it on the bottom line again. I know this is what at least NBC showed as the back and forth. I mean, maybe it was minus 15, and then that would have been a lot closer. But either way, it's done now. Oh, there goes another scream from old Girl's Got Pipes, man. Going through the teething phase. I'm hearing all about it, even if I'm across the house. Hunter says Super Speedway racing this year was not as bad as people make it out to be. Maybe that's a hot take, but Spring Dega was maybe the weakest. The rest were really good. I don't think they were really good. I think the Atlanta races were really good. I think the August Daytona race was really good. I think the Talladega races, I think the spring Talladega race was atrocious. I think this race was in the middle, mediocre. And I think the Daytona 500 was kind of mediocre. I think that the Daytona 500, we all get so hyped up for it that even if it's not the greatest race, we're like, but NASCAR's back, baby. I still think that there needs to be a good amount of work done to get where I think we need to be. Daniel says Talladega is becoming mid. I love the contrast between the two. Carson is doing very good at taking drivers out 2 weeks in a row. Byron's been getting screwed. I hope Denny wins it all. Yeah, Byron has been screwed, man. I mean, I think if anyone can deserve to say they were screwed this year, it was William Byron in 2014. Buckeye Man says, well, another year, no championship. Elliott is not living up to his potential. Martinsville's still there. Like I said, he was the guy who was passed for the win last year with 15 to go. So have a little faith. You know, don't have enough faith that you get delusional, but just have a little faith. Austin says, seeing Briscoe win and going to the championship warms my heart. He was my SHR favorite driver after Harvick retired, and I'll say this is his breakout season. This is his breakout season. Totally his breakout season. Bite Speed says, guess we can rule out Carson Hocevar to HMS. I think until Carson Hocevar like corporatizes himself, he'll never be at HMS. I don't think so. I think there's a much better chance that somebody like Connor Zilic gets his contract bought out in the future by Hendrick Motorsports than Carson Hocevar ever going over there. If you remember how the Kyle Busch Hendrick connection went for those 3 years in Cup, it just didn't work out for that team in general. Both, I think, in the long run, you know, especially Kyle went out in the long run, but I think both of them just were not, it was not conducive to, I think, a winning combination long term. I think that was bound to blow up. And I think Carson Hocevar is a lot closer to 2007 Kyle Busch than he is to like 2008 Dale Jr. that'll fit in there, or 2000, you know, what is it, 21 to now Bowman, Elliott, Byron, and Larson. You know, I think talent wise he's there, but I don't think that Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick bite at him. So yes, we can rule that out. I think we can rule that out forever, honestly. Palm Tree says, we called Eric crazy, but there's 3 green finishes. Yeah, it was a bold prediction. I give him credit. A very bold prediction. Philip says, I could be way off, but I think 34 screwed the playoff Fords when he decided to pull in front of their line instead of in front of the 5 on the restart. Oh, well, still a good day here at the track. Well, I'm glad you had fun. And I think you're kind of right. I think had he blocked that lane and the Penske guys had the ability to push, I think that you would have had the difference there. God damn, she's got pipe. Can y'all hear little Miniberg? She is not having it today. She is not in a good mood. Yeah. Maybe we'll do an extra bath night now, make it better. Snapback says, KV 19th, not involved in a crash, is a victory for me. Oh, you can hear. Damn. She is making herself known. Man, how the mighty have fallen with the Kyle Busch fans. Jensen, thank you for being a new member. Alex, Casey Mears top 20 in 2025 is cursed. I had said, like, you know, there's no way that Casey Mears is in any contention to win today or even be in the conversation. And then with like 5 to go, Steve Letart's like, and there, look in the pack coming up. It's Casey Mears. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know, I'd said that in the pre-race show. Like, there's no way Casey Mears will be up there. And then he was, you know, it was like top 10 at one point. Joshua says, now one of the HMS drivers must win at Martinsville. True, Larson is 36 above the cut line, but the bottom 3 have won the semifinal race before, and it makes me rather nervous heading into the Xfinity 500. Yeah, I think everybody's mentality in this race is going to be win, because if Larson doesn't win and he's still a point, you know, he's coming in a point behind Bell can easily outperform him, and vice versa. So yeah, I think everyone is like win baby. It's gonna make my video about it this week really, really damn easy to make. I'll tell you that. Philip says, I hate manufacturer racing, even if it is my guy doing it. Got to win Martinsville for the 3rd year in a row. No problem. Go 12. If anyone can do it, man, he's proven it, obviously, if it was 3rd year in a row. Jeffrey says, no matter what, if an HMS driver can make it, I have someone to cheer for. God, man, there could be. I mean, the only way that if an HMS drive, all of the HMS drivers missed it, it would be probably then it would be more than likely 3 JGR cars and then 1 Penske. So pick your poison on that one. I do think I think Larson probably will make it in. You would think one of them, I think, is bound to, right? Right. Brian says, as a Larson fan, I feel disappointed and scared about Martinsville, knowing that anyone from the cutoff below can win. What do you think are the odds he's in? I'd say I'd give 50-50. Probably 50-50. Just because the points gap is so massive that if Denny or Briscoe or Bell wins, I don't think Larson would have that catastrophic of a day. There's a very realistic chance we have 36 cars, right? And if he just has to finish like 30th, I think others would be taken out well before, crunch time. I think points wise, he should be fine. It's just a matter of if one of those guys doesn't win. And plus, he is right there with Bell as well. So yeah, I think Bell and Larson, both of y'all are looking at like probably 50-50 shots if you're fans, which is not the greatest, but when you look at the rest of them, it's probably well below 20% for the rest of them. Let's see. Briscoe. I think you're happy about Briscoe. And Martin Fan saying 5 lug nuts is the only thing that will eliminate fuel saving. Longer for tires, so time for fuel won't matter as much. Congrats to the 19. Earned it. I don't think they changed the tires all that much. I think it was a lot of fuel only for the most part. But if tires mattered, that would change it up, right? This track surface was repaved in 2006. Next year, it will be 20 years since. So I think you have the right. I think you're on the right, like, larger branch. I think you just cut off at the wrong place. Like, I only think it's 5 lugs, but if tires wore a bit more, like they did in the 2000s and even the 90s, and they had to change tires, I think it would change a lot when it came to the fuel saving stuff, and it would make it a gamble to do it. So I think that's where we're at with it. And I see others saying the stage breaks too. I'm with you on that. I think that would break it up a little bit more, but they would probably find different ways. But if you get to the point where the tires are wearing and you're having different, you're having to change them every other stop, I don't know if we have it. If not as much, maybe changing the fuel cells might be a difference. NASCAR's done that before to break up the pack. Maybe they do it this time to break up the fuel saving. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of solutions here. I just think that this is like trying to get toothpaste back in the tube, and at some point it's going to take massive swings. It's going to take a whole new tube of toothpaste, I think. I guess is the way I'm putting it, to make it happen. Jensen saying, I thought the race is okay as current Talladega goes, 6 or 7 out of 10. Hope everyone has a good rest of your Sunday. Aloha from Honolulu. Well, aloha. And thank you for watching. It's got to be, I think you guys are 5 hours behind me. I think you guys are, right? I'll just look it up right now. Yeah, what time is it over there? 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, you guys are 5 hours behind me. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember that because I've seen you a few times now. And I want to remember. So you got a whole day to enjoy after it, man. I gotta say, this would not work for the sport in general, but waking up to NASCAR and watching it in the morning, and and then having your whole day to do stuff is so damn fun. I remember that Daytona race a couple years ago, like 2022, I think it was, where it got rained the next day and they started it super early. And I know it rained and they had other issues and blah, blah, blah. But getting up and then like 10 o'clock in the morning, being able to sit down and watch NASCAR for 3.5 hours and then go and actually have the whole day to do stuff afterwards instead of it like being right now where it's pretty much dark where I'm at. Like that's fun. That's really fun. I know the West Coast gets it a bit, but like it still races late into the afternoon for y'all. Like, over in California, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So like, yeah, you have your evening to do stuff. But if I had my whole afternoon, dude, I'd be unstoppable. Unfortunately, I don't live in paradise. And not only that, but then I sit down earlier in the day to watch my pathetic excuse for a football team decide to butt fumble their way, or all butt fumble their way to a loss. So I'm seeing the end result of my decision making, man. Oh man. Life, good to see you. I believe that's how you say it, right? I feel really bad. I don't want to say it wrong. But I'm horrible with names, and I apologize. I'm sorry. It says, please anyone but like long neck Gano at Martinsville. That's so mean. I don't mind Joey as much anymore. I know I think I said it yesterday. It's kind of a hot take. I actually enjoy now listening, and this is a pro 36, point, race, whatever guy. I personally enjoy listening to Joey Logano and defend the playoff format because I love watching the salt mines fill up. It's so fun to watch. And this is coming from someone who does not like the system, but Joey knows exactly what he's doing, and it's so damn funny. Justin says, finally a race over the air. I want more. I wish Cup would air only over the air and simulcast on a streaming service. Get Big Fox, Big NBC, and CW to air those races with a prime simulcast. I wish. That's about all I can say. It will never happen, but I wish. At least maybe it'll be like others, or the majority of NASCAR's, aside from the 07 to 14 deal, majority of the deals since 2001, they've gotten more OTA races as the deals went on. They got the last one. I think the start of the last one, it was like 16 OTA races. And by the end of it, we got like 21 or 22. It was like the most OTA races ever in NASCAR history by the end of the deal. And then they took the bag. But maybe if we can get like two more from the Fox and NBC front in coming years, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Joshua says, in the full season points, Larson hangs on to the lead either by 1 or 2 points over Byron. The final 2 races are going to be absolute slobber knocker of a finish to the 2025 season. I've kind of said about, and I'm not going to follow it really as a championship personally, just because I know it's not real. But if y'all enjoy, follow it, man. Follow it. I have fun with it. Seems like a lot of people are really getting more into it as it goes. So, but I'll tell you what, if that were the system and that did happen, that last lap would have been that last half lap would have been so monumental for the season to watch. I mean, it would have been like, especially if they had a live points tracker with that too. Just saying, if they go back to that, or if Chase, I know a Chase is starting to get more rumors about that, even though it's not really as popular of a one for people. Points racing can be very dull. It also can be very fun. Tim says, Logano is the worst teammate. Didn't Blaney at least, I think he meant didn't help Blaney at all the last run, killed the bottom line. I don't know if he was like purposely doing it. They showed the spotter audio, and he was basically telling him like, okay, he's connected here, don't hit him here, like stuff like that. I think they worked together about as well as they could have. But we saw the end result. Joshua says Larson leads, Byron -2, Bell -8, Blaney and Briscoe -42, Hamlin -51. That's the top 6 in points. Absolute slugfest for the title with 2 to go. If you enjoy it, follow it. I'm not gonna try and stop people anymore. just got to remember, like, Denny probably would have raced Mexico, and they all would have raced pretty differently. And this, again, coming from Pro 36er, but enjoy it. I'm not going to stop y'all, and I'm not going to attempt to stop y'all anymore. You enjoy it. Whatever makes you enjoy the sport more, I'm here for. 3 says Joey breaks the chat's brains. Yeah, he does. And the funny part is, when the chat's brains are broken about him, it's still a lot better than like Reddit and especially X. So, Trucker Cowboy Ed says Larson finished every super speedway race this season, plus only has 2 DNFs. That's an accomplishment for Larson standards. That's taking care of equipment this year, and that's having pretty good luck on the super speedways. On top of just, he's ran well with them before. I mean, he was in contention to win this race. I had said on the pre-race show, over and over again, I think I had said, like, don't be surprised if at the end of this race, Kyle Larson is in contention to win his first super speedway race. Just didn't work out. Eric says, not going to lie, I can see Chase Briscoe getting better since SHR. He should be proud of it. Yeah, I think he's gotten better as a driver. He has a better team and equipment with him, and he should be proud of it. Tim says, I'm drunk and mad at Logano. Give me a break. Okay. I get it. I haven't been like drunk after a race and watch, because by the time I was old enough to drink, because I really didn't have any interest to until then, I was going live after races. And I think you all want to see me drunk. I don't want to see me drunk on the internet, though. I'm bad enough on my own free time with that. I don't want people seeing how stupid I can be, or stupider. Stupid is as stupid does. Scott says, where's all the Briscoe haters at now? I remember being laughed at when I would say Briscoe's a championship caliber driver. Let's go. I won't say I was a hater, but I had my reservations about it. I wanted to see him prove it, and I think he's proven it this year. Regardless of what happens, he has proven he can be an elite driver with elite equipment. He's been better than Ty Gibbs this year. Justin says, I'm on cloud 9 right now. The last time my favorite driver was competing for the championship in the final race of the season was 2011 when I was 7 with Tony Stewart. Been a long time waiting. Let's go, Briscoe. Yeah. God, man. I know the feeling. The last time my favorite driver was competing at the end of the year for a championship in the last race was when I was 9, I want to say 2006, Dale Jr. And even then he was a long shot. So enjoy it. Connor says, fingers crossed, Byron clutches Martinsville. I don't want to wait another year. I think I gotta say, I would, everyone focuses on how Joey has taken advantage of the playoff system, and he's the one whose legacy has changed the most for the better. William Byron might fall into that like Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick bin with the way the playoffs or Chase or whatever they have next. Like, this system has really hurt how people view him. Because I a few years ago, like I was like, okay, I don't believe it. Prove me wrong. And then he's been consistently, like, he's been the most consistent of a lot of the drivers. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. You might have to wait. There's a real chance, a very real chance, probably a great chance you're gonna have to wait another year. History Buff says Bubba is 2 unlucky turns away from 3 wins this year and racing for a title at Phoenix. Regardless, he's proven he's a top 10 to 12 driver in the sport. Yeah, I think he has. This year has been amazing to watch the development of Bubba Wallace. Paying attention to that through the summer, paying attention even after he got eliminated. Bubba Wallace has, as a driver, gotten much better, like just on the track with his racecraft. But maturity-wise, he has matured so much this year. And I think becoming a dad probably did that to him. He has matured so much this year. And I think that has helped his on-track side of his craft. And I can't wait to see, because this was year 1 with this crew chief. I can't wait to see what year 2 or 3 could be, especially if 2311 survives the lawsuit. I would love to see what Bubba Wallace can do moving forward. I think he can move himself into that top like 7, 8, 9 discussion, not just top 10. Like, and once you're in that once you're in that like 6th, range, 7th, 8th range, like that's when you're Ross Chastain in 22, or you're some of these, like Ross Chastain in general. Like Ross Chastain right now to me is like a 7th to 10th place driver. And so he is not a favorite any year to ever make it far, and he could get eliminated around a 16. There's a very real chance that he could be in the competition right now. And for Bubba Wallace's sake, if you enter that range consistently, it's going to work out for you at different points. So I would love to see what he can do with like 2 more years of good stability and building on this year. I think this year is a foundational year for that team. And I think that's a team next year that if you're doing the over under 1.5 wins, I would smash the over as a really good value bet if they have that. I stopped betting a few years ago. I was burning money at different points, man. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep my vices to the side on that one. Mr. Bad Guy says tire degradation and less drag components will lead to something crazy. Maybe one day we can get another 2000 Winston 500. That race can't ever be beat. That was a hell of a race. That race went green for like the opening 100 laps or something like that. I would love any aero package from that race to 07's Gen 4 or the 2019 to 2021 Gen 6. Either or, I love them both. I would love to see the next gen evolve into something like that and not ditch it like they did with the Gen 6, where we're ditching the car in a few years and we only get like 2 good years out of it, or 2.5 good years out of it. I want to see that kind of racing again, because I think people would view these seasons so much better if the super speedways and the short tracks, just those two types of tracks, are better. I think they would view the sport racing wise on track so much better, because the intermediates are there and we're starting to gain ground on, and the road courses have gotten better. It's just SVG, waxes them all. I want to see what the reaction would be with all of that. I want to see it get back to where it should be. So I guess I'm with you on that. Roman numeral 3 left 2 more. Logano needs Morton and Kleenex sponsors. Y'all really don't like Logano. And says, I was on the Briscoe train after his time in the 98. I was, and then I got off because he's good in the best equipment, but that doesn't always translate to Cup. Look at Austin Cindric, for instance. He's in the best equipment. It has not translated. The guy should probably not be driving the 2 car. I like Austin. I think he's a really nice guy, but he should not be in that car. Everyone's like, Alex Bowman needs to be out of there. Well, now Tim Cindric's gone. Like, can we start like, Hocevar the 2? I know he's not going to, but or like so-and-so the 2. Because I think that's more realistic than Alex Bowman getting booted this offseason or next offseason or whatever. Bucky Man, who is your current favorite driver? I don't have any I really actively root for. I guess McDowell. But some of that's kind of a meme. I got Norm Benning is the only one I actively root for. I love Norm. We all love Norm. I like Carson, Hocevar, that is. Zilich, I like what he's doing. Raja, he's been a friend of the channel for a long time. Same with Sam Mayer. Ty Gibbs, I guess he's been a friend of the channel before. He's been on the podcast like 3 times, on other stuff. I like a lot of those guys. I can't say I can't say I actively root for anyone though, outside of like Norm Benning. And I do like it when McDowell does well. So I guess those 2, if you had to pick any, but nobody for me can replace Dale Jr. Like I was like, y'all joke like I'm a diehard Vikings fan or Cubs fan. Never got close to how diehard of a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan. I probably was an annoying Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan before coming on YouTube. The entire opening stanza of my YouTube career is basically, I started this because I didn't want to fall out of love with NASCAR, and I was watching for a long time just because I was Dale Jr. fan. And with him retiring, I didn't know if I still liked sport. I found out I love the sport even more now since Dale Jr. retired. Um, so nobody will ever be like that favorite. Like Dale Earnhardt Jr. is always my favorite. The only time on this channel I actively go out of my way to be a biased homer is when Junior races those Xfinity races. That's the only way I do. And yeah, call me wishy-washy, rip on Junior, do whatever y'all want. I don't care. Like, I don't think the thing is like I'm kind of in the same boat. I always, I don't know if maybe I'm in the same boat. Maybe I'm like on the same boat, but an opposite end in a lot of ways of like Eric on this. Look at like how Eric sees, like he has guys that he's kind of, he likes, but end of the day, like he's watching for the sport. And that's kind of where I'm at. We just have different viewpoints of it. And yeah, fair. Dale Jr. still does race in the car store. So I like this. That's such a wishy-washy answer, bro. Come on. Who do you cheer for? I don't. I really don't. Bitch about it all you want, guys. I don't have anyone I actively root for. I guess Norm Benning is about it. Say what you want, complain, cry, bitch all you want. I don't really care. I don't have anyone that I feel that strongly about anymore. If you can't believe it, then that's your own problem. If you want a strong statement, there's my strong statement. Kick rocks. Looking at some of the others here, guys. Damn. Oh, now she's happy out there. I'm hoping she's happy. She's screaming. I'll say this. I'm excited to see who her favorite driver will be. Like that's who I'm really interested in seeing. I'd like to see it through the eyes of somebody else, like a kid like that, because I'm a jaded adult. Jeffrey says, so you never had a fan championship? Not as a NASCAR fan. I did as a Cubs fan, which was nice. But not as a NASCAR fan. Is what it is. I guess championship wise, I chose wrong. But looks like you did though, which I can't imagine how awesome that must have been. And it would have been awesome if Junior won one, but it just wasn't meant to be. M. Martin fan says, I hope Denny wins it all. Then Mark Martin will regain the title of greatest to not win a championship. Honestly, Denny currently holds it, and I'm a Mark Martin fan. I agree with you. I will say this. I'll root for drivers in specific instances, or as sentimental guys. I would love to see Denny win. He's the guy, as much as I want to be proven right with Chase Briscoe. and trust me, if Briscoe wins, I'm gonna be the most obnoxious asshole about it and be like, I told you guys. But I would love to see Denny win just for the memes and in a lot of ways for Denny with what he's going through sentimental wise. I would, with his dad, the lawsuit, so much different things, with his career and how much of an impact he's had on the sport, and hate him all you want. He's had a huge impact. I would love to see him win. Unfortunately, he's Denny Hamlin and the racing gods freaking hate him. But I don't know, maybe they'll have maybe they'll go out partying, the racing gods will, the night before and be too drunk to wake up for the race. I don't know. And then 3 says, I don't have a favorite driver. I just love racing, whether it's NASCAR or my local short tracks, just not modern F1 or IndyCar. I mean, I guess your first sentence, I'm with you on. Yeah. I love the racing aspect at this point. And it's why, I like Tyler Reddick. He's a good dude. I like a lot of these guys that a lot of you guys either are wishy-washy on or don't like. I think there's a lot more to the drivers now than fans give credit. And I think fans are going to see that, I think that's why fans are so nostalgic about so many different things. Because the things they're saying about the drivers now, they were saying in 2010, they were saying in 2005. I'm sorry, you look back and there was a ton of personality. Now, I don't think there might be as much personality now as then, but I think there are still some pretty damn good personalities out there. And I don't think that we give them enough credit. But I'm with you with the racing side of it, because like I was super excited for Reddick winning Homestead the way he did. That whole Homestead race was insane. Didn't have a damn dog in the fight. Any of those guys that would have won, I would have been fine with. Or Chicagoland in 2018. A Dale Jr. fan was excited as hell watching Kyle Busch win a race because it was just a really fucking good race. It was fun. I liked it. I will say this. If you're somebody who has not watched just for the racing and watches because you're a fan of a driver, you're not going to get it until you just watch for the racing consistently. You're not, it is a different worldview. And it's, I don't think either or is better or worse. But I will say, if you're somebody who just is locked in on drivers only, and you don't watch for a year or two of just watching for the racing, like you will not understand what I'm saying. Like you won't. I don't mind IndyCar. Like I honestly think I think they're very well positioned for the future as long as they can just keep their shit together. Bucky Man says, how do you feel about Elliott? Is he a top 5 driver? I see a lot of people saying he's not as good as he should be. Should he have multiple championships? That's some loaded questions. Is he a top 5 driver currently? No. Should he or can't? I say not should he be. Can he be? Yes. I think he is like one of those 6th, 7th place guys. He's in some of the best equipment out there. He gets outrun though by his 2 teammates a lot. Should he have multiple championships? Honestly, I think his only year that he really was the best, if you're putting it like that, was 2022. So I guess, yes, he probably, he probably should have or could have won that one. But he's in purgatory right now with this system. If they went to a full season championship, I think he would be one of the top 5 guys to look at because he's consistent. But that's not what's valued in current NASCAR. What's valued is winning. What's valued is winning at the right times. And yeah, I always give credit to David. I'm not even an IndyCar fan, and David keeps me interested. Jeffrey says Johnson in 13, 16, and Elliott in 20, kind of. Pretty good track record. Damn. You don't just got one, you got a lot. And then Creston, I think this is the last one, unless any others pop through here at the end. Says, I think it's okay to not have a favorite driver and be a NASCAR fan. I didn't have a favorite until I became a Tyler Reddick diehard a few years ago. Yeah. I think a lot of you guys, when your driver retires, take a few years either to get a new favorite driver or just watch it as objectively as you can. I'm sure there's still guys you're going to hate. It's fine. It's a whole different world, man. It is. And there's great things about it and there's bad things. There are days that I see like I like when Bowman wins and I see how happy Danny is. I'm kind of jealous. Like, man, I don't have a driver I'm like that excited for anymore. But on the other end, when I see all these people pissed off about their driver sucking during a race or crashing out, but it's a really freaking awesome race, I love that. I absolutely love that. And I wouldn't trade that back at this point. Like I've really enjoyed being a fan the way I've been now the last 8-9 years of the sport. It's a lot of y'all will see you one day, and I think you'll enjoy it. But that'll do it. We'll be live next week and the week after for Trucks Xfinity Cup. We got 6 races remaining total in the NASCAR season. At this time in 2 weeks, we're done. So be sure to come on in, hang out as much as you can. Wednesday night, we'll be on Eric's channel live October 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Should be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I love the discourse back and forth, whether we agree or disagree, whether you like a driver, hate a driver. It's always really fun, and I enjoy every minute of it. So thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday night. I'll see you all week long. Later.